But now he was spoiled, and he was rich. He was really rich. And they called and they said, this isn't for us, this business. We do other things. Would you like to buy it back? We'll sell it back to you cheap. And they did. He bought it. He bought it. He thought he made a great deal, and he was all excited. But it was 15 years later. He lost a lot of momentum. Remember the word momentum. And he lost everything. It just didn't work. He lost everything. And I was sitting at a party on Fifth Avenue one night, a long time ago, and you had the biggest people in New York, the biggest people in the country, all in that party, and they were all saluting each other, how great they were. They were all telling each other, I'm greater than you. Gets to be really, gives you a headache sometimes. But they had all these people, they're telling their own stories about how fantastic, a cocktail party, and I looked over, and I was doing well. I was invited to the party, so I had to be doing well. I was very, very young. But I made a name in real estate, and I looked over, and at the party, sitting in a corner all by himself, nobody was talking to him, was Mr. Levitt. He had just gone bankrupt, lost everything. He had lost everything, his home, everything. And I went over and talked to him because he was in the real estate business, and I loved real estate. And I said, hello, Mr. Levitt, how are you? He said, hello, Donald, it's nice to meet you. He knew me from being in the business. I said, so how's it going? He goes, not well. It's really not going well, as you've probably read. It's been a very, very tough period for me, son. And I said, so what happened? It says, anything you can do? He goes, no, there's not a thing I can do. He said, I'll never forget. He said, I've lost my momentum. I just didn't have it. I used to have it, but I lost my momentum. So it's a story I tell. And you have to know when you have the momentum, but sometimes you have to also know when you've lost the momentum. And leaving a field sometimes, leaving what you're doing sometimes is okay. But you got to have momentum, but you have to know if that momentum's gone. You have to know when to say, it's time to get out. And it's a very sad story. I remember that story so well, like it was yesterday. Fifth, you have to have the courage to take risks and to do things differently. Eisenhower, again, was threatened with court-martials as a young officer for advocating a new doctrine of tank warfare. Billy Mitchell was thrown out of the Army for pioneering the use of air power. They said, what do you mean air power? Don't be ridiculous. People willing to try and do things differently. It's never going to be easy for them, but they're the ones that are going to really do the important things. They're the ones who are going to make history. So don't be ashamed and don't be afraid. This is a time of incredible change, and we do not need an officer corps of careerists and yes men and people that want to keep it going the way it's been, because it changes rapidly, especially what you're doing. Because believe it or not, you're in a business and profession where things change as rapidly like warfare, the type of warfare. Unfortunately, we're getting to see it with Russia and Ukraine, and we're studying it, and it's a very terrible thing to study, but we're seeing the different forms of warfare. We're seeing the drones that are coming down at angles and with speed and with precision. We've never seen anything like it. We've never seen anything like it, and we're learning from it. But your profession changes very rapidly. You've got to be at the top of it. You've got to be right at the head of the needle. We need patriots with guts and vision and backbone who take personal risks to ensure that America wins every single time. We want to win our battles. You know, I defeated ISIS in 3 weeks. They told me it would take 5 years. And the general that did it, you know that story, was named Raisin Cane. His name is Dan Cane, but his nickname was Raisin Cane. I said, your name is Raisin Cane. I love that. Is that a nickname? That's what they call me, sir. I love you, General. I think you're the guy I'm looking for. I want to know a guy named Raisin Cane, and he is now the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and he's a highly respected man. And we defeated, think of it, ISIS. They said, how long in Washington? Sir, it will take 4 years to defeat them, maybe 5. And maybe we won't, because they're all over the place. And then I met a man that said we can do it in 3 weeks, and he did it, 3 weeks. And that's why he's the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff right now. And we did things that nobody thought were possible. We've had great military success. When you have the right leader and you have the right people, and we have the right people, you're going to have tremendous success. Sixth, never lose your faith in America and the American people, because they're always going to be there for you. I went through a very tough time with some very radicalized, sick people. And I say I was investigated more than the great, late Alphonse Capone. Alphonse Capone was a monster. He was a very hardened criminal. I went through more investigations than Alphonse Capone. And now I'm talking to you as president. Can you believe this? Can you believe it? So you got to fight hard. You got to never give up. And don't let bad people take you down. You got to take them down. Got a lot of bad people out there, and those people, you have to figure it out. But you also have a lot of great people. Finally, hold on to your culture and your traditions, because that's what makes something really great. And that's what's made the Army great, the culture and the tradition.